Right. The Jomo Kenyatta International Airport case has been in the public realm for quite some time. The government of Kenya, through a unconstitutional act, the Public-Private Procurement Act, went unilaterally to identify an investor, put the airport in the hands of that investor in secret. A 30-year deal amounting to 268 billion shillings was being negotiated and to be finalized between the government of Kenya, the Kenya Airports Authority, and Adani's company, the Adani Group. At the beginning of this process, we raised concerns about the propriety of the adventure because in Kenya there are two ways to procure public services, and they are all enumerated in the Public Procurement Act, which is by public tender or an expression of interest, where competing parties are able to put forward their bids, which are evaluated, and of course the competition or the weight results are able to be assessed by the Kenyan people in order that the winner is a deserving winner. When we challenged the way in which the Adani Group was being given the airport, the government muscled through by first of all forcing the workers to call a nationwide strike, and under threat and under protest, the workers were quiet or shut down. I instituted a petition in the High Court, Tony Gashoka versus Adani. I incorporated various groups of public interest, the Wiper Democratic Party, the Jubilee Party, and the Democratic Action Party, because it was critical for me for this to become a public interest matter, not an individual matter. While we were prosecuting this matter, we had three issues of objection. We objected to the fact that there was no public participation at all involved in even the award or discussion toward raising money to invest in the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Secondly, there was want of public satisfaction because of lack of parliamentary approval. Parliament was kept in the dark about the transaction. And the third issue is that there was nobody competing against Adani. It was a deal signed in silence and pursued in silence. So we went to the High Court. While in the High Court, the East Side Court of the District Court of New York went ahead and indicted Adani on fundamental issues of lawlessness and criminal activity. What worried me the most was the criminal fraud. Adani was charged and indicted in the US for bribing in the amount of 265 million, equivalent to 34 billion, the government officials of India, in order to acquire a solar plant, exclusive solar plant worth 2 billion shillings. If you do a calculation of 265 million against a 2 billion award tender, Adani paid 10% of the award to the officials in terms of bribes. In Kenya, the Jomo Kenyatta transaction over 30 years was 268 billion. So 10% of that amount would be 2.6 billion. We are saying that the Adani Group paid Kenyan officials, government officials, in excess of 2.6 billion shillings to sign the deal of the Jomo Kenyatta in the same way they did in the indicted proceedings in the USA. The second point indicted by the district attorney in New York was the issue that the money that was being raised by the signed document was raised fraudulently. In other words, they got the government of India to sign a deal with Adani, and then they sold that proposal to investors and lenders and borrowed $3 billion. So Adani's scheme in Kenya was to get our title deed, get the airport signed to the Adani Group, and then go and borrow from lenders and from investors abroad on our name. Now, assume William Ruto had succeeded in giving this project to Adani, and 5 years from now, Adani went bankrupt or was indicted. Where would be the people of Kenya and the airport? It is total nonsense for President Ruto to purport to say that he has withdrawn this matter because of new evidence that he has got from the district court in New York. We told him in court, we told him in public that Adani was a man of unscrupulous character and a man of devious character. And he went into this knowingly William Ruto has gone against this deal simply to preserve his political future, because we were going to give him a deafening defeat in the High Court, because we were going to ask the question, when did public participation occur? When did he get approval of Parliament? And that the PPP Act is unconstitutional. So I have consulted with all the people and the stakeholders in this matter. And very soon we'll be announcing a national initiative to create an infrastructure bond that will be funded by the Kenyan people and friends of Kenya abroad, to be able to raise money ourselves, to be able to fund the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. We are going to raise this money. We did it to do the Kenya Commercial Bank, we did it with Kengen, we did it with Safaricom, and we are going to do it with the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. All we need is a genuine investor, a major international player like Delta Airlines of the US and others. We can be able to put together as Kenyans a bid that is people-owned and people-driven, to be able to save the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. We cannot allow to mortgage our history and our future. Right. That is my thing. Now, on the 27th of November, this Wednesday, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa, and myself will proceed to Milimani High Court, where we shall be seeking a formal document by Adani Group and by the government of Kenya to say that they are pulling out of the petition. We are not going to take the word of William Ruto on anything. William Ruto promised this country he would reshuffle his cabinet and returned it. William Ruto promised this country no more taxes. In the finance bill of 2024, all the taxes are back through the back door. It is not enough for him to tell Tony Gashoka that I'm withdrawing the Adani matter of the Jomo Kenyatta. I will not withdraw the petition in the High Court without a formal notification that is legally binding upon the government of Kenya that secures the assets and the heritage of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. And I'm prepared to go up to the Supreme Court on this matter.
The government is likely to advertise for a new investor.